Views are our own and do not represent the Department of Defense.
Correct. And I'm not going to be in uniform, like out in the field.
Or on TikTok. All right, I got it.
TikTok, yeah.
I got it. All right. So the exclusive from the Daily Mail, U.S. Army faces TikTok mutiny as Gen Z recruits whine about low pay, poor food, and fitness tests while on base in uniform. Brazen posts represent audacious challenge to top brass amid recruitment crisis. One of the posts by military influencer Anthony Laster slams Army life. Says he spent whole day watching TikToks while supposedly fighting the Taliban. Gonky, you wanted to talk about this Airbus tail strike.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Go on.
Yeah, sorry. No, so apparently this I didn't have you ever flown out of an uncontrolled field?
Breathe, Gonky, breathe. The U.S. Army is facing a TikTok mutiny as Gen Z recruits are taking to social media to whine about the things I just said. That's just a repeat. Laster from Chicago, I used to work in Chicago, an old department store, has more than 1 million followers on TikTok and made the public comments in uniform while on mission in the desert. In another post, he claimed he spent his whole day watching TikToks while supposedly fighting. Are we fighting the Taliban? Is that still a thing? I thought we gave up on that. It gives a woeful impression of America's fighting forces to potential recruits, which is likely to cause further animosity toward TikTok from critics, among other things. Politicians from both sides have concerns about platforms linked with China and accuse it of pushing subversive anti-U.S. propaganda. There's a picture of the man saying the pay sucks. If you see this is your sign not to join the military. The Army expects to end up about 15,000 short of its 65,000 recruits for 2023. Navy has the same problem. There's criticism about woke and the drag shows. Army's in the middle of a 5-year plan. Around 23% of soldiers are fat, like Amy. And disgruntled. This is why I don't get to read the articles. Now, disgruntled rank and file officers have found an outlet on the TikTok to advise considering signing up to the thing again. According to videos from thedailymail.com, among the criticisms, young soldiers complain about having to remain below a certain weight. Harsh treatment from their superiors. Terrible. You did not give me my trophy today. And having to perform menial tasks such as mopping dirt on the battlefield. What did they think the Army was? Like, did you not watch Stripes? One young recruit, Shamar Williams, in uniform and appearing to be on base, looks into the camera. Tells us 34,000. That's it? Gonky's got more than that. His top 5 reasons not to join the military. Echoing Laster's grievances, Williams bemoans, we do not get paid enough to perform the mission that is tasked to us. Lack of autonomy and sacrifices in family life. According to federal data, more than 20,000 active duty troops are on food stamps to make ends meet. You sure about that? Anyway, I know you think also adds his list of complaints about the things military attempts to sell to potential recruits, notably schooling. Now, I know you think, whoa, that is a benefit, Williams explains, but there are requirements you have to meet first to get to that schooling. So if you're thinking of joining because of schooling, just go to school. Because it's free, Sergeant Barber, 25, filming himself in uniform, admits that he has already been counseled because of a TikTok video. Nonetheless, tells us 68,000 short of being cool. Before you head to the recruiting office, watch this video. If you don't like your freedom being suppressed a little, not really, then I wouldn't join the military. As well as cautioning against fairness of getting rich in the Army, Barber also says life in the military is mopping those floors 99% of the time, rather than more combat. Even if you deploy, you probably won't see combat today in this world. So if that's your mindset, don't join. One young recruit could only be identified as Gamage from the name on her uniform. Gamage. Don't join the Army until you're mentally prepared to be told you're going over or underweight. Treat it like you're not a good soldier if you can't run 2 miles in 18 minutes or less. Oh, and you can't get injured either because then that's your fault. Health is a barrier to recruitment as well as insurers an issue once recruits are enrolled. More than half 56% of American 18 and 25-year-olds are fat or obese, according to Johns Hopkins, meaning they can enlist. Fitness within the Army is also at a crisis point, with General Terme a threat to national security. Injury and healthcare are also concerned for young recruits who identified himself as Chul. He advises against joining the Army because this is very physically demanding. The Army don't give an F if you F up your better PC, the PT, personal trainer. Concluding, in the military, you're their B. If they want to do something to you, you're going to do it. Like, did they? Who? What now? And now there's this totally irrelevant diatribe about putting TikTok on government devices, which has absolutely nothing to do with this story. I don't even know why they spend 4 paragraphs talking about it, because these are not being done on government phones. But I digress. That's the story. Gonky, what do you have? How'd I do?
Good. I couldn't tell what country the language you were speaking, like you're trying to simulate, but no, it was good. It was good.
Gen Z, whatever the Gen Z whining was, is what I was going for.
So, I watch these TikTok videos. I don't have TikTok, but I watched them because you sent them to me. Anyways, it's easy to get mad at the Gen Z, but it's kind of like Wombat was saying last week. I mean, and Mover can attest this. There's like tons of young kids that are just kicking butt, right? And they're really good at their job. They show up and they do their thing, and they're proud to serve, right? So what you're seeing here is a snapshot of people who obviously didn't join to serve. I mean, I think we've talked about this before. I wanted the opportunity to have a chance to fly fighters in the Navy, and I would have done it for free. They would have had to feed me because I like to eat, but I would have done it for free. So, the whole complaining about the pay, I didn't even know what officers made. Now, I will say this. I do think there's a disparity. I think the disparity is too large in pay between officer and enlisted. I think they should pay their enlisted more. That's just my own personal opinion. But I think this is just a snapshot of some very entitled people who, quite honestly, shouldn't be in the military. I mean, you should not be in uniform, doing what these people are doing, because you know what, they're hurting the force, right? And politics aside, it's your brothers and sisters that are serving alongside of you that you are hurting. So, in my mind, all these LORs for everyone, right, Mover? I mean, why not?
Too soon. So, the problem with social media, boy, it's going to sound hypocritical because here we are on social media. But the problem with social media is it gives everyone a voice, even people that probably shouldn't have one. People that are stupid should not advertise that fact to the entire world. Sometimes it's better to just not.
Yeah.
And so the problem is you have a short form system of TikTok, which is pure cancer. I've said this so many times. I think it is part of the degradation
100%.
of just in general of maybe not society, but social media, because people have these 15 to 30 second attention spans, and because all you're doing is watching, and it applies to reels and shorts and all that stuff too, but TikTok's the one that started it. When you give that dopamine hit, everything has to be done in 15 to 30 seconds. And you lose context, and you also lose a little bit of your common sense. So when somebody is complaining in 15 to 30 seconds, all they get is the complaint. Like, these people may have valid complaints. There is a possibility that they may have like a whole scenario that's valid, but all we're going to see is the 15 to 30 seconds. And all we're going to see is the idiots dancing and the idiots doing trends and doing all the stuff that they need to go viral and with the hashtags and all that stuff, because that is how the app is designed, for that quick dopamine hit, move on. Probably as by design by the Chinese in
100%.
order to do that. Because if you look at Chinese TikTok, they don't have any of this stuff. It's all about education and science and technology and engineering and mathematics. It's not what we have, which is twerking and dancing and looking like an idiot and saying stupid stuff and going on and talking about your command. It is a violation of DOD, I think 5400.17, to even do this. It's That's it. Like, this is a violation of a DOD instruction because, you're not supposed to appear in uniform. Number one, it's good order and discipline. You can't get up there and disparage stuff. Now, granted, there are outlets for doing this. I mean, there's whistleblower protections. So if there really is an issue, then you go to the appropriate channels and you file the appropriate complaint. You file an IG. But my point being is what they're doing is not new. In the history of the Army, you've had people complaining about every little thing, especially people that didn't get what they signed up for, or what they thought they signed up for. The issue I have is it's on TikTok and people are doing it in uniform on TikTok.
Here's a thought. If you're too fat to pass the PT test, stop being on TikTok all day and maybe go out and do a couple laps around the track.
Yeah.
There's a thought.
Well, I mean,
the statistician in me is compelled to point out that there were 45,000 people recruited into the U.S. Army in 2022, and this article is based on 3 TikToks.
That's true.
This represents the opinion of 0.0006% of that year's recruits.
But the problem is they have all these followers, right?
Right. They are important because
influencers.
It's because of their influencer status, which again, when you give voice to the stupid. Hold on, I'm trying to get the Luna cam up while you guys are talking.
Must be bedtime.
It must be 9:00. Yeah, she's right here.
Has anybody checked whether there's any positive TikToks about the Army?
Oh, it won't work. Damn.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude, you've got that guy that we've talked about this. We got that recruiter guy that's out there doing the ASMR and all that stuff, and he's trying to reach out to recruit people and all this. There is good stuff. Social media, I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said it's all bad because we're here on social media, and I've taken my fair share of heat for it. But there's good. I just think that you have to, with great power comes great responsibility in some cases. Like, it's okay
to a loaded gun, man. You got to know how to use it.
Right. And it's okay to point out things and to say it, but you have to do it tactfully. You have to do it in a way that does not make it worse. I mean, I would probably never say 5 reasons never to join the Air Force. At least not in uniform.
No.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it does. It gives a disproportionate influence to a very negative and very, very minuscule opinion.
Yep.